Welcome back to Weekend Prime. Now, Kenya has found itself at the center of a diplomatic row with South Africa following the arrival of a chartered plane carrying 153 Palestinians from Gaza into South Africa on 13th November 2025. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says the group that arrived mysteriously through the O.R. Tambo International Airport were put on a plane that transited via Nairobi, and now that stop is what experts fear could place Kenya in a tight diplomatic spot over the flight's approvals. Here's Gloria Milimu with more.
Kenya has found itself awkwardly wedged between two feuding powers as South Africa and Israel fight over the flight approvals of a chartered plane carrying Palestinian passengers that made a stopover in Nairobi en route to Johannesburg. It is not clear yet whether the Nairobi stopover was a routine refueling halt, but KTN understands it has now ballooned into a diplomatic headache, with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa publicly insisting his government was not informed of flight and its load of Palestinians. In a press release, South Africa said the chartered flight arrived in Johannesburg from Nairobi on Wednesday with 153 passengers. It added that immigration officials noticed the absence of departure stamps in some of the Palestinians' passports, as well as the fact that a number of travelers did not appear to have return tickets or addresses for their accommodation in South Africa. The government of South Africa said it contacted the Palestinian embassy over the matter, and that they agreed that the absence of stamps, return tickets, and accommodation addresses did not indicate that the Palestinians wished to apply for asylum. Kenya Airports Authority Director General Mohamud Gedi told KTN that the role of clearing an aircraft to land or take off or even enter into the Kenyan airspace is mandated to the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. He said he was not willing to talk about their job and referred us to the authority. However, private aviation expert we spoke to said no aircraft takes off, lands, or changes course without explicit approval. Flight paths must be cleared, landing permissions granted, and ground logistics confirmed. The expert reiterated that since the plane touched down in Nairobi, Kenyan authorities unquestionably knew and approved it. Kenya's Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs Musalia Mudavadi confirmed this position, noting that Kenya would have been alerted well in advance. Still, the Kenyan government has kept its cards close, perhaps wary of being dragged deeper into a dispute that has little to do with it. South Africa, meanwhile, remains furious. Relations between Pretoria and Israel have been icy for months, with the South African government accusing Israel of human rights violations in its treatment of Palestinians and escalating the row by pursuing legal action at the International Court of Justice. In that political climate, a mysterious plane load of Palestinians landing in a third country before heading to Johannesburg was bound to spark suspicion. Israel insists the flight was routine. South Africa suspects political maneuvering, and Kenya is now left cleaning up the diplomatic spillover. Whether Kenya's involvement was purely logistical or diplomatically motivated is the unanswered question, and both Pretoria and Tel Aviv seem determined to force clarity. Gloria Milimu, KTN.
To Education Matters.